everybody, Charlene O'Hanlon here, managing editor at DevOps.com, and I am at DevOps World, Jenkins World 2018, San Francisco, and it's the end of the day. Can you tell I'm starting to wind down? With me is Brian Reed, who is Chief Mobility Officer at NowSecure. Brian, thank you so much for taking a few minutes and talking with me today.
Oh, thank you so much for having us.
Excellent, excellent. So your company obviously is a mobile application security company, for lack of a better term, I guess. So tell me a little bit about what you're seeing kind of as far as trends in the space in general, where we are today versus maybe where we were a couple of years ago.
Yeah, well, I think we actually go back 9 years, right? 9 years ago, Jenkins was born, right? That was state-of-the-art was agile development, state-of-the-art was manual security testing. And so over the past 9 years, we've got this phenomenal Jenkins Cloud-Bees infrastructure now, and everyone's racing to DevOps, and we went from the 2-week cycle to almost the 2-minute cycle from commit to deploy as a model, right? So all that automation and tooling has been built, and that's been a mega trend in terms of using tools to automate the system. Well, NowSecure went through the same pattern. We actually started a year before Jenkins, so we're kind of 1 year older. Okay. We started out as a manual security testing, manual pen testing business. And we did that, we literally wrote the book on mobile forensics way back when. What happened over the past 9 years is we tried to engineer the human out of the machine, right? So Jenkins and Cloud-Bees and the whole DevOps tool chain is about using tools and systems to automate the work to make it run more predictably, reliably, and faster. We tried to do that for mobile security and security testing. Okay. So today, just like you could go from build, commit, build into production in less than an hour with Jenkins, you can do the same thing plugging us in, and we do the automated security testing in that pipe. And so what we see is a trend line in the market is velocity, predictability, reliability, collaboration, all of those things that fit have done really well, and there's some amazing case studies here and some amazing award winners at this event, and security was kind of left in the background.
Right.
So we've been a big part of the DevSecOps wave, which is bringing security into the realm of the speed, velocity, ease of use, full automation that we have in the DevOps world.
Yeah, and I've seen just a ton of DevSecOps just stuff here at the show. It's a huge topic of conversation. So, and then when I think about mobile apps in general, the way that the mobile app developers work is very much seem to be in kind of the DevOps. They're just always updating, and they pretty much kind of forge the path, if you will, for a lot of companies to.
It's a great example. I mean, we work with the largest enterprises in the world, so the banking app on your phone was probably certified using my software.
Awesome,
and we find security bugs and they get them fixed.
Yeah.
But we also work with a lot of mobile first organizations. So some of the mobile apps you might use that have millions or tens of millions of downloads were security tested using our software. What's really interesting about the market, I've been in mobile apps and mobile security for about 15 years, is that for many organizations, mobile is a spearhead. Mobile often will be the first DevOps project that the company might be waterfall or agile, but they're like, okay, we want to try to build a mobile app and we're going to choose DevOps as our approach. And that might even be the first DevOps initiative in an entire company, right? Yeah. So the cadence and pace of mobile is really outstripping it. Was reading some ComScore data last week, and actually for the first time last month, the amount of traffic coming from mobile devices and mobile apps has exceeded the number of and volume of traffic from web. And so we're at this kind of inflection point. We already know there's like 2.5 mobile devices per human in the world.
Right.
Well, there's also 4 million apps in iTunes and Google Play in North America, and some 20 to 30 million apps around the world. And so as the use of mobile apps has grown, DevOps has been a key part of that. And now with DevSecOps, it's making it cycle through and kind of playing catch up.
So with that in mind then, are companies just kind of shifting their entire kind of mindset toward toward mobile apps and toward security in general, and really kind of making security, shifting it left to the point where it's part of the initial conversation. It's not, after
the late stage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So, give you a good example. We worked with a products company last fall. Really cool IoT mobile app initiative. They're going through the process. They're doing the same thing most people do, which is wait to test until you're done. And here comes the nightmare. 11th hour file drill occurs. They come to us for a pen test. We do a quick pen test, and we find a train wreck of data leakage.
Yikes.
Now, this particular application had incredibly sensitive data in it related to IoT. And so they freaked out, right? And it was a Christmas-oriented product they were producing. So they missed the Christmas window. They spent a year and a half building the product. They waited to security test it till September. They blew it, took them 2 months to fix, and they basically missed the whole channel rollout for Christmas, right? Now I use that as an example because it really, really happened, right? And so what we see now today with that shift left is trying to move from, okay, I'm doing DevOps faster, but I'm still testing at the end, right? So I want to move that left. So I move into an on-demand model. I move into periodic testing. And then eventually, 30-40% of our customers are plugging our tool directly into Jenkins. And so the build runs, automatically does the functional testing, automatically does the security testing, automatically feeds the tickets into development. So in the same day, you're getting the repair cycle instead of the light cycle, which allows you to build in security as a baseline within the portfolio. And everybody's really going for security built in. It shouldn't be DevSecOps, it should be DevOps for secure apps. Right?
Well, that makes total sense. So, I love the fact that security is now an initial part of the conversation and not an afterthought.
Yeah.
But we still hear so much about mobile apps being compromised, botnets, or these security vulnerabilities, and they seem to be persisting. Do you think it has something to do with? Is it the code that folks are using that's just bad code, or is it? Where are we breaking down?
Yeah. It's a whole ecosystem of problems, right? So if you think about web apps, which is the preponderance of what we all use, right, and what we know, I'm not going to say it's perfect, there's plenty of vulnerabilities there, but generally web apps are written in 1 or 2 or 3 languages, and pretty much everybody's learned how to do that. So it's pretty well hardened. Mobile is actually more complicated than it looks. So with mobile, you've got multiple different development environments, you've got 2 operating systems, neither of which are interoperable with iOS and Android. Then the way the devices handle security, because they're a complete compute platform, independent of the back end, is completely different from how web handles security. So what we find often is that the developers that move into mobile came from web, but they don't have all the expertise to understand the true technical differences in building high quality mobile apps that have security built in. The opportunity to make a mistake on mobile from a security perspective for a developer is much higher than it is on web, because the attack surface area is different. And so, we already know that a lot of developers don't have a lot of security training as they grow up.
Right.
And then mobile just makes a multiplying factor on it, right? So we have benchmark data you can find on our website. OWASP is a kind of security baseline standards group. So the OWASP Web Top 10 and the OWASP Mobile Top 10, our benchmarks show that 82% of the 4 million apps in the app stores have one or more serious vulnerability that violates the OWASP Top 10, one or more of the OWASP Top 10. And what we found is it's not malice, it's ignorance and lack of understanding and tools and skills. And what makes it even worse is web, it's pretty straightforward to either use open source or commercial testing tools. Mobile is way harder. It's really hard to test things on mobile. It's really hard to automate the testing because you have the closed lockdown iOS environment. How am I going to test that? I can't put probes in it and all the rest. So our security research team comes from the world of Frida and Radari and these hardcore open source security testing harness tools specifically for mobile, and that's what we build our platform on, right? So we're able to help the developer realize where their gaps are very quickly and improve it. So we see a net improvement. If I take that 4 million apps and look at it over a year, it's better now than it was a year ago.
Sure, yeah.
But if 80% of them have 1 or more vulnerabilities, that kind of means we got a ways to go.
Okay, all right, well that makes total sense. So, Brian, thanks so much for taking a few minutes and talking with me. It's always fascinating to hear about this stuff, so thanks again, I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time today.